There comes a moment in your life when you realize this. Talking about change isn't change. Posting about growth isn't growth. Being seen isn't the same as becoming. If you truly want to transform, you don't need more attention. You need silence, not the silence of quitting. The silence of focus. The world tells you to show everything, post your progress, prove your worth, perform for the crowd. But the strongest version of you is not built on a stage, it is built in the shadows, where there is no applause, no validation, no audience. Just you, your work, your discipline, your decisions. This is where transformation happens. When you disappear from the noise, when you stop explaining, when you stop performing, when you stop trying to be seen, you finally start to become. This is not running away. This is not hiding. This is not isolation. This is reconstruction. This is rebirth. This is the season where you go quiet, so your results can speak for you later. Most people are terrified of disappearing because they are addicted to being noticed. But attention is cheap. Identity is priceless. The next 90 days can change everything. If you disappear, if you commit, if you build in silence, the question isn't, are you ready to be seen? The question is, are you ready to become the person worth seeing? Let's begin. The reason most people never transform is not because they lack potential. It's because they're surrounded by noise. Not just loud noise, not chaos in the streets. A quitinoise, a digital buzz, a constant pull on your attention. You wake up and your phone is already reaching for you. Notifications, messages, reminders, updates, opinions you never asked for, lives you never meant to compare yourself to. Before you even take your first full breath, your mind is already reacting, not choosing, not directing, just reacting. This is how your power slips away, because whatever controls your attention controls your life. And the modern world is designed to steal your attention one tiny moment at a time. Scroll, swipe, check, refresh, 100 times a day. You don't notice the theft. You only notice the cost. Your energy feels scattered. Your focus feels weaker. Your goals feel further away, and your confidence starts to fade. You begin to feel like you're behind, like everyone else is moving faster, like everyone else knows something you don't. So you perform, you post, you announce, you try to prove that you're doing something worthwhile. And for a moment, the likes, the comments, on the attention, it feels good, but it's not real progress. It's stimulation, not transformation. You start trading effort for appearance. An appearance never builds anything. This is the silent trap of the noise. You look busy. You feel active, but you're not actually moving. Your mind is full, but your life is empty. And the scariest part, you get used to it. You get used to being distracted. You get used to being scattered. You get used to being half alive. You forget what deep focus feels like. You forget what momentum feels like. You forget what it feels like to be in control of your own mind. Noise didn't just slow you down. It disconnected you from yourself. That's why disappearing is not about running away. It's about taking your mind back. When you disappear, you break the cycle. You stop reacting. You stop performing. You stop chasing validation. And for the first time in a long time, you are alone with yourself. And that scares most people because silence forces honesty. When the noise fades, you can finally hear your own voice again, and sometimes that voice has been ignored for years. It might say, "I'm not who I want to be. I've been playing small. I've been pretending. I've been avoiding my own potential." That's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Silence is not empty. Silence is clarity. This is why transformation begins with disappearing. You cannot rebuild yourself while you are still drowning in noise. You must step back. You must get quiet. You must remove yourself from the constant pull of attention, not forever, just long enough to remember who you are. And here is the most important truth of this chapter. Your potential is not gone. Your discipline is not gone. Your confidence is not gone. It has simply been buried under noise. When you disappear, you are not losing anything. You are uncovering what was always there. Your strength, your clarity, your identity, your direction. You do not need more motivation. You need less distraction. The next step is not to push harder. The next step is to reclaim your focus, because once your attention returns to you, your power returns with it. When people hear the word disappear, they think it means retreat. They think it means hiding. They think it means giving up. But disappearing is not escape. It is strategy. It is stepping away from the noise long enough to rebuild the foundation that the world has been chipping away at. Because here's the truth. Visibility is not progress. Being seen does not mean you are growing. Posting does not mean you are improving. Most people are exhausted not because they are doing too much, but because they never stop performing. They live as a character in someone else's story instead of the author of their own. Disappearing is how you take your story back. Silence is where strength is built. Think of the gym. The muscle doesn't grow while you're flexing in the mirror. It grows in the quiet, in the repetition, in the strain, in the work no one sees. The same is true for your mind, for your habits, for your identity. The most powerful version of you is forged in the hours no one claps for. This is why the world will not understand when you start to disappear. They will say, "You've changed. You're distant. You're quiet. What happened to you?" And your answer will be simple. I'm building, not performing, not proving, not seeking permission, building. Silence reveals what noise hides. When the world goes quiet, you start to notice which goals are real and which were just to impress others, which relationships are genuine and which only exist when you are convenient, which habits are strengthening you and which are destroying you, which dreams belong to you and which were handed to you by others. Silence is a mirror, and it shows you yourself. Most people avoid silence for that exact reason. Because silence confronts you, it makes you see everything you've been distracting yourself from: your procrastination, your lack of discipline, your insecurity, your unrealized potential. Silence leaves you with the truth. And the truth is the starting point of transformation. Disappearing also reveals something else. Your life was never meant to be performed. You don't exist to be consumed. You don't exist to be applauded. You don't exist to be constantly understood. You exist to become, and becoming requires space. When you disappear, you stop living reactively and begin living intentionally. You stop doing things because others are watching. You start doing things because they are meaningful to you. You stop chasing attention. You start chasing alignment. So how do you disappear with purpose? You withdraw your energy from the external and reinvest it into the internal, into your body movement, sleep, nourishment, into your mind reading, learning, clarity, reflection, into your craft skill building, practice, mastery, into your direction goals, and structure, identity. When your attention turns inward, your power multiplies. What you used to give away to scrolling, comparing, explaining, and impressing, you now invest in building. This is how transformation becomes inevitable. Not because you talk about it, not because you hype yourself up, but because you are quietly doing the work. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of interference. It is the environment where identity can be rebuilt. This is why disappearing is not a retreat. It is a return to yourself, your purpose, your strength, your life in the next chapter as we go deeper. How to decide who you are becoming before you rebuild anything. Because disappearing without direction is hiding, but disappearing with clarity is evolution. Before transformation begins, you must make one of the hardest decisions of your life. Who are you becoming? Not who the world told you to be, not who your past conditioned you to be, not who people expect you to remain, but who you choose consciously, deliberately, intentionally. Because disappearing without direction is just running away. But disappearing with intention, that's evolution. Let's start with a simple question. If no one were watching you, who would you be? No applause, no validation, no opinions, no comparison, just you. Most people don't know the answer because they've spent their whole lives performing a role. The responsible one, the nice one, the successful one, the reliable one, the strong one, roles assigned, not chosen. And when your identity is built on performance, you lose yourself. Disappearing gives you space to find yourself again. To choose who you are becoming, you must first let go of who you were. This is the painful part because the old you isn't just habits and behavior. It's identity, it's memories, it's emotional attachment. The old you is familiar even if it's unhealthy. The mind is addicted to familiarity. It would rather repeat patterns that hurt than risk the uncertainty of growth. So the first step is acceptance. You cannot become someone new while still clinging to who you used to be. What does this mean in practice? It means releasing old stories about what you're capable of, old environments that keep you small, old friendships that drain your energy, old habits that sabotage your progress, old beliefs about what your life should look like. Transformation begins the moment you say, I no longer accept the version of myself that keeps me stuck. Now, once you let go, you create space to decide, not hope, not wish, decide. Who are you becoming? Describe that person clearly. How do they think? How do they speak? How do they spend their time? What habits do they repeat daily? What do they tolerate? What do they no longer entertain? This is not just imagination. This is identity architecture. Because your identity shapes your behavior shapes your habits shape your life. So identity is the root, and roots grow in silence. Here is a practical exercise. Define your future self in one sentence. Something like, I am the kind of person who follows through. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. I am the kind of person who chooses growth over comfort. I am the kind of person who builds quietly and reveals results. Repeat it daily. Identity is not built in a moment. Identity is built in repetition. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you cast a vote for the new you. Every time you choose silence over validation, you cast a vote for the new you. Every time you choose purpose over performance, you cast a vote for the new you. Growth is not loud. Growth is not dramatic. Growth is 1,000 quiet decisions made when no one is watching. And here's the most empowering truth. You don't have to become someone else. You only have to return to who you were before the world told you who to be. The version of you that was brave, curious, focused, unfiltered, hungry. That version is still there. It's just buried under noise. Disappearing is how you dig them out. If you truly want to rebuild yourself, you must learn the power of silence. Not silence as avoidance, not silence as isolation, but silence as strategy. Because the world today is loud, everyone is speaking. Everyone is performing. Everyone is trying to be seen. And when everyone is screaming for attention, the quiet one becomes dangerous. Silence gives you something the noisy world can't. Focus. And focus is the most valuable currency you have. Look around. People are addicted to noise, scrolling through endless opinions, reacting to every notification, talking about plans instead of executing them, sharing their goals before they've taken the first step. Noise gives you the illusion of progress. Silence gives you actual progress. Every time you talk about what you're going to do, your mind releases a small hit of dopamine. You feel good as if you've already taken action. But you didn't. You just leaked energy that should have gone into the work. That's why the great ones are often quiet during their climb. They understand a simple principle. Work in silence, reveal results. Silence also protects your vision. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Not everyone has the capacity to understand them. And many people, without even realizing it, will talk you out of them. Sometimes out of insecurity, sometimes out of fear, sometimes simply because they cannot see what you see. So you must guard your plans the way a warrior guards a fortress. Keep them close. Keep them sacred. Let the results speak for you later. Because when your work is real, it doesn't need marketing. Your transformation will be undeniable. But silence does something deeper too. It forces you to face yourself. When you stop drowning your mind in noise, you begin to hear the thoughts you've avoided. The truth about your habits, the truth about your fears, the truth about the gaps that must be closed. This is why silence is uncomfortable for most people. It's easier to stay distracted than to face your own reflection. But every breakthrough begins in that quiet confrontation. In silence, you can ask the real questions. What is actually holding me back? What have I been avoiding? What do I need to improve? Who do I need to stop pretending to be? Who am I becoming when no one is watching? This is the work that changes you, not the motivation posts, not the inspirational quotes, not the noise. The inner work, the unseen work, the uncomfortable work. So how do you practice silence? Start with small, deliberate shifts. Stop announcing your goals. Stop explaining your decisions. Stop debating your plans. Stop seeking applause. Stop broadcasting your process. Move quietly. Move consistently. Move with intention. Let people wonder where you went. Let them think you disappeared. Let them assume you faded, while in reality, you are sharpening, you are learning, you are rebuilding, and one day you will return. not louder, but stronger, not seeking validation, but commanding respect, not trying to be seen, but impossible to ignore. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is where identity is reforged. Silence is where clarity is born. Silence is where transformation takes root. The loudest work you will ever do is the work no one sees. And when you reemerge, the world won't recognize you because you didn't just upgrade, you became someone new. There comes a moment in your transformation when you must make a choice: stay available to everyone or become available to your evolution. You cannot do both. Most people live their lives in constant social exposure. They respond to every message, engage in every conversation, react to every opinion, and stay connected to everyone they've ever known. But that level of access comes with a cost. When everyone has access to you, you lose access to yourself. Disappearing socially is not about cutting people off in anger. It's about reclaiming your energy and redirecting your attention to what matters, because the version of you that you are becoming requires new habits, new environments, and sometimes a new circle. Look at how much time you spend maintaining connections that don't serve you, talking to people who drain your motivation, keeping friendships only because of history, participating in conversations that go nowhere, staying connected to people who don't grow. It's not personal, it's physics. Your environment either pulls you up or pulls you back. And if you're serious about evolving, you need to create space for that evolution. This is why disappearing socially is essential. When you step back, you stop performing, you stop comparing, you stop absorbing other people's expectations. You finally get the chance to hear your own voice again. But the hardest part is not stepping back, it's dealing with how people react to it. Some will misunderstand you. Some will take it personally. Some will say, you changed. But understand something clearly. You are supposed to change. Staying the same is the real failure. The people who get upset when you disappear are often the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. They liked you more when you were accessible, available, distracted, stuck. Your growth threatens their comfort. So let them talk. Let them question. Let them misunderstand. Your transformation is not a group project. When you disappear socially, several things begin to happen. You become more selective with who you let in. You start valuing depth over connection. You start choosing solitude over validation. You begin to realize that not everyone deserves your time. Not every conversation deserves your presence. Not every relationship deserves a spot in your future. Your energy is a currency, and you've been spending it carelessly. Disappearing allows you to redistribute that currency toward your goals, your growth, and your peace. Here's what social disappearance looks like in practice. Fewer messages, fewer social check-ins, more time alone, more time learning, training, building. No need to explain yourself. You don't post every insight. You don't broadcast every achievement. You don't ask for permission anymore. You simply live, you build, you become, and eventually, people notice the difference. Not because you told them, not because you showed them, but because your life reflects the work. Some will fade away naturally. Let them. If someone requires access to the older version of you to feel connected, they were never connected to you, only to your convenience. The ones meant to stay will grow with you. The rest will stay behind. And that's how it should be. When you disappear socially, you are not going backwards. You are not hiding. You are not isolating. You are ascending quietly, intentionally, powerfully. You are stepping away from the shallow world of constant connection and re-entering the deeper world of self-mastery. Because to transform your life, you don't need more people. You need more you. Silence is deeply misunderstood. People think silence means you're hiding. They think it means you've slowed down, lost momentum, or fallen off. But silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. When you choose to go silent, you are choosing to remove the noise so you can access a deeper level of clarity, focus, and self-direction. Because the truth is, most people aren't actually thinking, they're reacting. They're reacting to the opinions of others, to the pressure of comparison, to the constant demand to be seen, to the never-ending need to update, post, and prove. And when your life becomes reaction instead of direction, you lose yourself. Silence brings you back. There are 3 levels of silence in transformation: silence from the world, silence from others, silence from yourself. Each one unlocks a different kind of power. 1. Silence from the world. This is when you step back from the constant noise, social media, news, trends, opinions, endless scrolling. The world is loud on purpose. Noise keeps you distracted. Distraction keeps you average. When you silence the world, your mind stops moving outward and starts moving inward. Your attention returns to where your power actually is within your decisions, your discipline, your daily actions. In silence, your priorities become clearer, your purpose becomes louder, your direction becomes sharper. 2. Silence from others. This is where real courage begins. Not everyone needs to know what you're doing. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your plans. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, dreams, or growth. Every time you share your plans too soon, you leak power. Talking about what you'll do gives your brain the illusion of progress, a dopamine high that replaces the hunger needed to actually execute. That's why the most focused people in the world say less and do more. They don't explain. They don't justify. They don't announce. They build. Silence protects your momentum. 3. Silence from yourself. This is the deepest level, because even when you disconnect from the world and distance yourself from others, your own mind can still be loud. The doubts, the insecurities, the overthinking, the fear of failure, the need to predict outcomes. Silence from yourself means learning how to quiet the mental noise long enough to see reality clearly. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens through discipline. Journaling to empty the noise, meditation to calm the mind, deep work without interruptions, time alone, without distraction. When the mind quiets, your inner voice, the real one, finally speaks. And that voice knows exactly who you are supposed to become. Here's the truth. Noise is a shield for avoidance. People talk because they're afraid to act. People share because they're afraid to fail quietly. People seek validation because they don't trust their own direction. Silence forces you to confront yourself, and that confrontation is where transformation begins. Silence is where you outgrow the previous version of you. Silence is where you build mental toughness. Silence is where discipline becomes identity. Silence is where your new life roots itself. And when you eventually reappear, because you will silence will show its power, your presence will feel different. Your energy will feel sharper. Your decisions will feel intentional. You won't need to say you've changed. People will feel it. Silence shapes you. And the work done in silence is the kind of work that lasts. Because transformation is not performed, it is built quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Transformation is not something that happens on the outside first. It begins from the inside in the unseen places where no one else can look. Your habits, your focus, your beliefs, your self-talk, your internal standards. This is your foundation. And if the foundation is weak, the transformation will never hold. You can change your environment, your routines, as your friends, but if you still think like the old version of yourself, you will eventually return to that version. That's why disappearing is not just about stepping back from the world. It is about stepping into yourself, because the person you are becoming requires a new internal architecture. 1. The mindset shift. Most people try to build a new life with the mindset that created their old one. They try to rise while still thinking small. They try to change while still doubting themselves. They try to grow while still believing the limitations that others handed them. But change requires a shift in identity. Instead of asking, can I become this person, ask, what does the person I want to become do every day? Successful people don't wait for confidence. Confidence is earned by acting before you feel ready. You build confidence through evidence by keeping promises to yourself. You say you'll wake up early, and you do. You say you'll train, and you do. You say you'll study, build, improve, and you do. Every kept promise adds a brick to your foundation. Every broken promise cracks it. Your mindset isn't shaped by motivation. Your mindset is shaped by repetition. 2. Discipline over emotion. Most people let their emotions run their lives. If they're motivated, they work. If they're tired, they stop. If they're inspired, they improve. If they're discouraged, they collapse. But emotions are temporary. And your life is too important to be controlled by temporary feelings. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's the real turning point. Not when you work with excitement, but when you work through resistance. The hardest day is the most important day. When you push through the days when everything in you wants to quit, that's when identity changes. Because now you're not trying to become disciplined. You are proving to yourself, I am disciplined. Identity shifts in moments of discomfort. 3. Identity, the final layer. Identity is the most powerful force in human behavior. You will always act like the person you believe you are. If you believe you are inconsistent, you will continue to be inconsistent. If you believe you are easily distracted, you will continue to be easily distracted. If you believe you are meant for more, capable of more, built for more, you will start behaving in alignment with that belief. Your identity is not shaped by words, it's shaped by standards. Ask yourself, what do I tolerate in myself? What excuses do I allow? What level of effort do I accept as enough? Raise your standards, and your identity will rise with them. This is why people who disappear to transform return unrecognizable, not because they learned new information, but because they became someone new. 4. The daily rebuilding framework. Here is the practical, repeatable system that rebuilds identity. Wake with intention, no scrolling. No noisy. Start with purpose. Move your body. Discipline begins in the physical. Feed your mind. Read. Study. Learn something that sharpens your mind. Work in silence, deep focus. No distractions. One task at a time. Reflect at night, journal what was strong. What was weak? What improves tomorrow, small wins, repeated daily, create massive transformation. This is not hype. This is mathematics of self-growth. Small improvements, repeated consistently over time, create a complete shift in your identity. 5. Becoming the person you envision. The question is no longer, how do I transform? You already know the answer. You transform by aligning your actions with your vision. The real question is, will I hold the line long enough to become that person? This is where most people fail. Not because they are incapable, but because they quit before the identity shift completes. Disappearing gives you the space needed to stay consistent long enough to change who you are. And once identity shifts, transformation is permanent. You cannot become a new person while living in the same environment that shaped the old you. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are always influencing you, either pushing you forward or pulling you back. If your environment encourages distraction, laziness, comparison, shouts, and noise, then no amount of motivation will save you. Motivation is temporary. Environment is permanent. So if you are serious about transformation, you must design your environment to support the person you are becoming. 1. Your physical space shapes your mental space. Look around your room, your desk, your phone, your home. Is it cluttered? Chaotic? Full of distractions? If so, your mind will feel the same. Clear space creates clear thinking. Organized surroundings create organized focus. This is why high-performance environments are simple, minimal, clean, intentional. When your environment is designed for focus, it becomes easier to be focused. The work becomes natural instead of forced. So start simple. Clean your workspace. Remove distractions from sight. Keep only what supports your goals. You'll feel the difference instantly. 2. Control your digital environment. Your phone is the strongest force pulling you away from transformation. Not because technology is bad, but because your default digital environment is designed to steal your attention. If your phone is your biggest distraction, then your phone needs rules. Turn off non-essential notifications. Delete apps that drain your focus. Remove social media from your home screen. Install website blockers during work hours. When you control the digital input, you take back your mental freedom. This is not discipline. This is design. Make it easy to do what matters. Make it difficult to do what doesn't. 3. Curate your social environment. The people around you influence you more than you realize. Not just by what they say, but by what they normalize. If your circle normalizes laziness, complaining, drama, excuses, you will absorb that behavior without even noticing. If your circle normalizes growth, discipline, and ambition, you will rise naturally. So take inventory. Who drains you, who distracts you, who brings you peace, who brings you closer to your goals. The answers tell you exactly who should remain in your life and who should fade into the background. You don't need to cut people off with anger. Just redirect your time to where your future is respected. 4. Build systems that support your success. Transformation is not about willpower. It is about structure. If you want to read more, leave your books where you can see them. If you want to exercise, lay your clothes out the night before. If you want to eat healthy, remove junk from your environment entirely. Don't rely on the stronger you to show up later. Create an environment where success is the default. Make the right choice easier. Make the wrong choice harder. That's not motivation. That's architecture. 5. Protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. Your energy determines how you think, how you act, how you respond, what you create. Stop letting anyone and anything withdraw from your energy account without permission. Your environment must support your peace, not destroy it. If something drains you, it cannot stay. If something elevates, you invest into it. This is how your environment becomes a silent partner in your transformation. When you disappear and intentionally design your environment, you begin to realize something powerful. Change is not hard. Change simply requires removing everything that keeps you the same. Your environment is either building you or breaking you. Choose wisely. Design intentionally. Protect your focus, and your transformation will unfold naturally. Your vision is the most valuable thing you own. Not your money, not your reputation, not your opportunities. Your vision, the picture of who you are becoming. That vision is fragile in the beginning. It starts as a whisper, a spark, a subtle knowing inside of you that says, there is more for me than this. But here's the truth most people never learn. If you share your vision too early, you risk killing it before it ever has the chance to grow. Not because your vision is weak, but because the world is loud. When you tell people your plans, you invite their doubts, their fears, their projections, their insecurities, and suddenly you're carrying weight that doesn't belong to you. You were built to carry your mission. You were not built to carry everyone's opinion. The danger of premature exposure. Every time you speak your vision before it is rooted, you leak power. Talking about what you're going to do gives your brain a hit of the same dopamine you would get from actually doing the thing. You feel satisfied, proud, accomplished, but you haven't done anything yet. Your mind confuses announcement with achievement, and because of that, many dreams die in the stage of discussion. The more you talk, the less you do. That's why disappearing is not only helpful, it's necessary. Silent effort keeps the fire burning. Public promises blow the flame out. Why others can't see your vision? Your vision was given to you, not them. They didn't wake up with your hunger. They didn't feel your calling. They didn't see what you saw in your mind, so they can't possibly understand it. When you share your vision with people who lack your imagination or your courage, they will try to shrink it to a size that makes them comfortable. Not because they are bad, but because your growth challenges their stagnation. Your elevation forces them to confront their excuses. And not everyone is ready to do that. So they discourage. They doubt. They question. Are you sure? What if it fails? Wouldn't it be safer to just stay where you are? Their fear is not your truth, and it should never become your strategy. Your vision must be protected like a seed. Think of your goals as seeds planted underground. In the beginning, no one can see growth happening. It looks like nothing is changing, but beneath the soil, roots are forming. If you dig up a seed every day to show people progress, it dies. Your dreams need privacy, nurturing, time in the dark. Silence is not absence. Silence is incubation. This is how trees grow, and this is how transformations happen. The inner circle rule. There are only 3 types of people you should ever share your vision with. 1, people who are further than you. They guide, not judge. 2, people who are building at your level. They understand the grind. As 3, people who love you enough to tell the truth, not flatter, not doubt truth. Everyone else, they can wait until the results reveal themselves. If someone has not earned emotional access to your vision, they cannot have it. Your dreams are not up for public discussion. They are not a community vote. They are your responsibility. Your vision requires emotional boundaries. Protect your focus from low-level conversations, people who are addicted to comfort, people who mock effort, people who quit on themselves. If they quit on themselves, they will ask you to quit on yourself, not with words, but with energy. They will normalize failure, normalise distraction, normalize staying the same. But you are not building a normal life. You are building a purposeful, disciplined one. So choose your environment with intention. When to share your vision, there is a right time to speak. Share your vision after it is built into your identity, not when it is still an idea in your mind. You'll know you are ready when you no longer need praise, you no longer fear criticism, you no longer feel the urge to prove yourself. You are already living the habits of your future self when your vision is rooted. You don't have to announce anything. Your presence announces it. Your results announce it. Your discipline announces it. People won't need to hear your plan. They will see the difference in who you are. And in that moment, your silence will become the loudest thing about you. Your vision is your contract with the future. It is not something you talk about. It is something you commit to in private. Every morning you wake up and choose work or wait, discipline or distraction, become or remain. This is where transformation becomes inevitability. Not loud, not broadcasted, not depend on attention, just you, your purpose, your actions, your evolution, protected, rooted, growing, unshakable. There will come a moment, after all the silence, the discipline, the rebuilding, when you will feel something shift inside you. Your mind will be clearer. Your habits will be stronger. Your emotions will be steadier. Your direction will feel locked in, and you'll know you are no longer the person you used to be. This is the moment of reappearance, not a dramatic announcement, not a victory speech, not a performance for validation, just a quiet return as a stronger, sharper, more aligned version of yourself. Reappearing is not about showing the world what you have done. It's about living what you have become. You don't reappear to prove. You reappear to live. Most people come back to be seen, but that's not the point of disappearing. You did not disappear to impress anyone. You disappeared to transform. So when you reappear, there is no need to explain, no need to justify why you stepped away, no need to apologize for growing, no need to convince anyone of your worth. Your results will speak, your presence will speak, your discipline will speak, and that will be louder than any explanation ever could. How people will react. Some will be inspired. Some will be uncomfortable. Some will try to pull you back to who you used to be, because your transformation will challenge their stagnation. They'll say things like, "You've changed. You're different now. You're not the same person anymore." And you will smile, because that is the point. You were never meant to stay the same. The most powerful confirmation of growth is when the old world no longer fits. Your reappearance is not a return, it's an arrival. You didn't go backward. You didn't retreat. You advanced inward. You built the internal strength to carry the life you are now stepping into. So when you reappear, you speak less. You listen more. You choose your circle intentionally. You move with clarity and direction. There is a calm confidence about you now. Not loud, Not boastful, just undeniable. The right people will find you. When you change, your environment changes. You'll start attracting people who value growth, people who speak the language of ambition, people who honor your boundaries, people who are also building something real. You won't need to force anything. You won't chase. You won't beg for connection. Your energy will draw in what aligns and repel what doesn't. This is the natural result of becoming rooted in your identity. You don't just change your life, you change your level. The journey never truly ends. Reappearing does not mean the work is over. Growth is a lifestyle. Transformation is continuous. Evolution does not have a final destination. But now, the struggle feels different. You're no longer fighting to become someone. You are someone. You've built the foundation. You've shaped the identity. You've proven to yourself that you can rebuild from nothing. In silence, without applause, you have become self-made. In the truest sense, reappearance is the victory, not the applause, not the recognition, not the title, not the praise. The victory is that you returned as someone new. You disappeared to transform, and you came back unrecognizable. Not to them, to you. Because the greatest achievement in life is not changing the world, it's changing yourself. If you've made it this far, then hear this clearly. You are not meant to stay who you are right now. There is a stronger, wiser, more focused, more disciplined version of you waiting on the other side of silence. A version of you that no longer needs to prove anything. A version of you that walks with clarity. A version of you that builds with intention. A version of you that does not chase attention, because the results speak louder than any words ever could. And that version of you is not created in performance. It is created in private, in the days no one sees, in the discipline no one celebrates, in the work you commit to when there is no applause. Disappearing is not running away. It is rising differently. So starting today, step back, shut out the noise, protect your focus, guard your vision like treasure, and give yourself the space to become, because when you return, you will not return the same. You will return unrecognizable. Now, if this message spoke to something deep inside, you don't just feel the shift, act on it. Subscribe so you never walk this journey alone. Like this video to push it to someone who needs it. Share it with the person who's ready to rebuild themselves in silence. This is not just a channel. This is a movement, a place for the ones who refuse to stay average, a place for the ones who choose transformation over applause. Welcome to the rebuild. Welcome to the evolution. Welcome to the version of you the world is not ready for. Now, disappear and begin.